Welcome to my news program I will release every Sunday. I do this to keep you updated on what is happening in Chicago's gang world. It feels like a good complement to my longer history videos, where the information is not always current events. The biggest news this week comes, of course, in connection with the conclusion of the trial regarding the murder of FBG Duck. All 6 defendants were found guilty and will get their sentences later in August this year. Charles Liggins, or more famously known as C. Murder, one of the alleged shooters, was found guilty on 5 of 7 counts. Jurors found he committed the murder, engaged in a conspiracy to murder Duck, used a gun in relation to the shooting, and wounded Duck's girlfriend in the attack. Liggins was found not guilty of shooting another shopper on Oak Street and using a gun in relation to that shooting. Kenneth Robertson, also known as Kenny Mack, who was the alleged getaway driver, was also found guilty of the same 5 counts. He was found not guilty of the same 2 counts. Carlos Offord, also known as Los Muna, who was the second alleged getaway driver for the other car, was also found guilty of 5 counts. He was found not guilty of 2 counts for shooting Duck's girlfriend and using a gun in relation to that shooting. Christopher Thomas, also known as C. Thang, also one of the alleged shooters, was found guilty of 3 counts: murder, using a gun in the murder, and conspiracy to commit the murder. He was found not guilty of counts related to the wounding of the other 2 victims and using a gun in those shootings. Ralph Turpin, also known as Teasy from THF46, who allegedly summoned the shooters to Oak Street to kill Duck, was found guilty of 2 counts: murder and conspiracy to commit the murder. Marcus Smart, also known as Muwop, also an alleged gunman, was found guilty of 5 counts. He was found not guilty of 2 counts of shooting Duck's girlfriend and using a gun in relation to that shooting. Now I'm going to give my personal opinion on all this. From the day it happened, I was sure that it was O-Block who was behind the murder of FBG Duck. 3 months later, I made the FBG Duck video where I mentioned the shooters I was told had been there. 3 of these shooters turned out to be true: Zell Muna, who later killed himself, C. Thang, and Muwop. Months later, Los Muna was also revealed to have been present when a car he rented in his name was used in connection with the murder. This was revealed by the internet. There and then, I was absolutely certain that the individuals behind it would be caught. This murder was too high profile. The conflict between King Von, who was already on the police's radar, and FBG Duck was at the boiling point, and it resulted in FBG Duck being shot dead in downtown Chicago on one of the most high-profile streets where all the luxury stores are located. People can say what they want, but it was King Von who pushed for this murder to happen. Without him, it wouldn't have happened. He had the fame, the money, and the reputation to tell others what to do. After the murder happened, all eyes were on him, and even though you could tell he didn't want to troll as much as he did when he was younger, he just couldn't help himself on several occasions. He just had to troll to gain more attention, fame, and reputation. If King Von had been alive, he too would have been drawn into this investigation and most likely charged with having ordered the murder. The investigation has shown that King Von first had $50,000 on Duck's head, but that he later raised the stake to $100,000 after Duck dropped the diss song, Dead Bitches, where he mocked several deceased members of O-Block, including King Von's best friend T. Roy. Others who also couldn't keep from trolling and bragging about the murder were Muwop, C-Thang and Zell Muna. Just months after the murder, C-Thang made a song together with Zell Muna and Big Woney, where they clearly mocked FBG Duck and bragged about being present at the murder. For example, C-Thang rapped, "People hiding, soon they pop out, shots fired. Man down, no ambulance, his ass died, his mama crying, don't give no F, we still sliding." And, "Time to up the score, hit him 9 times, long live Jado." I'm not really making this video to tell you all the evidence, but more to make you understand how comfortable they were bragging about doing such a high-profile murder. I also think they understood the risks of doing that, but I really don't think they could stop themselves from bragging for the same reason. They wanted everyone to know they did it. Duck's mother has also pointed this out on several occasions. Precisely for that reason, I was absolutely certain that they would be caught and prosecuted. To quote the Bible, "Before destruction the heart of a man is haughty, and before honor is humility." Proverbs 18, verse 12 to 24. In another piece of news, which I was the first to reveal, Lil Row from NLMB/Drench Gang was arrested for murder 2 weeks ago. I first got the information from a credible source, which I uploaded on Instagram, and 4 days later, a user on Reddit had gotten hold of the report regarding the arrest, and it turned out to be true. When I first got the information, I immediately started looking for the murder it was about by checking through databases, but no cases of interest had been updated, which made me think that it was most likely an innocent person murdered. I also knew that Lil Row had been out on EM, which stands for electronic monitoring, since the summer of 2023 due to a gun case. This meant that the murder must have happened before that. My guesses later turned out to be true, when the same person who released the arrest report later released the full report, which revealed that Lil Row was arrested for the murder of Oliver McCall Jr., an off-duty security guard. The murder took place on October 15, 2021, after a stolen car crashed on 73rd Street and Yates Boulevard. The men jumped out of the car, and just at that moment Oliver happened to pass by, an off-duty security guard. The police think the men who had crashed the car got spooked because in seconds all 3 pulled their guns and shot Oliver over a dozen times. Some say he was shot around 20 times. It is unknown if words were exchanged before the shots were fired, but it does not surprise me that he was shot over 20 times, especially since there were 3 of them. Nowadays in Chicago, there is hardly anything called dirty kill. Everyone wants a body under their belt, which means everyone is shooting and don't know when to stop. The 3 perpetrators then fled the scene. This happened near ABK territory, so my guess is they were hiding there. For those of you who like boxing, you probably recognize Oliver's name and surname, McCall. And that's right, he was the son of former heavyweight champion Oliver McCall. Despite the police theory that the perpetrators were spooked, the family is still looking for answers. Oliver had just finished an overnight shift and was out walking his mother to the bus to make sure she got to work safely, but he never made it back home. It is believed Oliver McCall, who was licensed to carry a gun, returned fire at whoever shot him. It was not clear whether he hit anyone. Lil Row was only 16 years of age when this murder occurred, and it's really strange that it took so long for him to be arrested, considering the reason. The reason why Lil Row was arrested was because they found his DNA and fingerprints in the stolen vehicle that crashed. The strange thing is that it took so long to identify and arrest him. However, the state denied charging him in the matter, which resulted in him being released. An interesting thing is that Lil Row's twin, Twino, was alive at the time when the murder occurred, and it is very common for identical twins to share the exact same DNA. I wonder if that might have played a role in why the state denied charging him. His twin, who was called Twino, was killed in a car crash in the summer of 2022 after driving his SRT at high speed. The murder of the innocent security guard happened in the middle of the ongoing war between Pockettown and the NLMB. Lil Greg, Killa Spook, and KTS Dre had previously been killed that very same year, and the war was hotter than ever. There were also several mass shootings where many innocent people were hit. Not to mention, Lil Don was still free and sliding. What's crazy is that not long after the murder, Lil Don was on an Instagram livestream with Twino from Drench Gang. Twino joined the live stream and started saying Lil Don is lying when he said it was him. Lil Don then answered by saying, "Merch, it wasn't y'all." A few seconds later, Twino asked if it was one of y'all, but Lil Don replied that it was an innocent and that he was shot around 23 times. Now, it doesn't have to be the murder of Oliver they are referring to, but there are many indications of it. Anyways, Lil Row was never charged with the murder. The state denied it, and it may be that he is innocent, but I doubt it since they found his DNA in a stolen vehicle. My guess is that they haven't found a murder weapon from any of the 3 people in the car. I have my hunches about who the other 2 might be, but I'm keeping that to myself right now. In other news, the U.S. Army soldier who sold weapons to Pockettown, which ultimately fulfilled a RICO case, has pleaded guilty to selling arms to gang members. The weapons he has sold can be linked to 8 murders and 2 mass shootings. One of the cases is the murder of Lil Greg from NLMB, who was shot and killed in a barbershop in late January 2021, allegedly by Pockettown. This killing caused the ongoing war between Pockettown and NLMB, and in 2021 it was at its worst. 2 months later, Killa Spook from Pockettown was killed in a mass shooting, allegedly carried out by NLMB and Burley Boys. The guns the Pockettown members used to return fire had been bought by the U.S. Army soldiers. 4 Pockettown members also pleaded guilty to buying weapons and were sentenced to 5 years each in prison. The 4 members are Pacmigo, Rello, Lil Ra, and Dreadhead Larry. In other news, Lil Trey from 800 is released from prison. Lil Bubba from Taekwon World has been arrested on unknown charges in Minnesota. Huncho from Drama World is charged with the murder of a woman. Police say Huncho shot and killed a 22-year-old woman on July 8, 2023. It's unknown what led to the shooting. Wet 'em Up from NLMB is rumored to have been picked up by the feds on unknown charges. However, I won't speak on it too much because I'm not sure if he really is locked up. His name is among the inmates on their websites, but he posted a story, a photo from the inside of a car, after I uploaded the news on Instagram. However, I have seen No Limit members saying free him, but others say it's false. So at this point, it is quite unknown if he's really locked up or not. So I won't speculate on it too much. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the new format. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment on the video.